Hi, and welcome back to Miscellaneous Topics, day number 2. Today we are talking about equations of the circle. Part of the reasons I saved this is because it can show up in a part 2 question, and if you don't remember how to do it, it's easier to see it at the end of the year than trying to remember all the way through the year. And this is a good time for us to review completing the squares, since that happens with these problems. When we're talking about circles, we can use the distance formula, and when we did trig, we talked about the circle formula. They're all related because the distance formula really just comes from the circle. So I was just going to kind of show you how that works real quick here. So let's see here, where's my pen? Alright, let's try this. If I go to this circle and I draw a radius out to the edge, this is the point P, which is x, y. For our center, this is my radius. For our center, we always use the point H, K. Now this is something we did back in geometry. So CP is equal to the square root of, if I substitute into my formula, I will get x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. CP is just the radius. And then if I want to get rid of a radical, all I have to do is square both sides. So we'll have r squared equals x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. So if you ever wondered where the equation of a circle came from, that is where it is. Now, as we're looking at this circle happens to be centered at 0, 0. So for this one, the center is equal to 0, 0. So that means that h and k, in this case, are both 0. So when we are centered at 0, 0, we would have x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals r squared. So this just simplifies to x squared plus y squared equals r squared, which is something you should be familiar with. And then we went on to trig, and we talked about the Pythagorean identity from there as cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. Now, the standard form of the equation of a circle is x squared plus y squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0. I'm not going to go through and do anything fancy with this because we don't need to do that. At this point, I just want you to recognize if you have x squared and y squared in the equation, you will be having a circle. Alright, find the center and radius form of the equation x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 6x minus 3 equals 0. Determine the center and the radius of the circle. So we've kind of done this before with the Regents Review question. Group your x's together. So x squared minus 4x plus, leave a space, and then plus y squared plus 6y plus, leave a space, take the 3, move it over, equals 3. Now we're going to do completing the square. For x, my b value is -4. Half of b is negative 2. Half of b squared is positive 4. So I'm going to add 4 here, but I must also add 4 to the other side of the equation. I must also complete the square for y. So in y, b is 6. Half of b is 3. Half of b squared is 9. So I add 9 here, and I add 9 there. So now I need to factor this portion, and that becomes x minus 2, the quantity squared, plus I need to factor this, which is y plus 3 squared, equals 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 9 is 16. Now I have my center radius form of the equation because I can find my center and my radius by looking at this. So the center of this equation is 2, negative 3, remember it's always the opposite, and my radius is the square root of 16, which is 4. Okay, for number 2, we're not going to put it in standard form because they never asked us to do that. And since we're just reviewing for the exam, I'm not worrying about that. The endpoints of the diameter of the circle are 6, 1, and negative 4, 5. Write the equation of the circle in center radius form. Well, I would actually draw a picture of this. Of course, this is a terrible looking graph here. So 6, 1. And this is B. And then Q is negative 4, negative 5. And of course, if you do this on graph paper, you would easily see that there's a circle there. Since I don't have a compass, I can't really draw a circle very well. That's a sad excuse for a circle. My apologies. We need to find the center of that circle. If you have graph paper, it'd be easy to find the center of the circle because it would be drawn for you. And on real graph paper, my center would be 1, negative 2. That would be my midpoint. And you could use the midpoint formula if you wanted to, or if you had that drawn. So my midpoint is 1, negative 2. Now, what I would do personally to find the radius of my circle is draw a right triangle. This distance is 1, 2, 3. And then this distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So now I've got two sides. I need to find the radius of my circle, so I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So 3 squared plus 5 squared equals r squared. So 9 plus 25 equals r squared. So r squared is equal to 34. And since my center is 1, negative 2, the equation of my circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k, so minus the negative is plus, squared equals 34. Okay, and that is in center radius form. And that's really all you have to do with that one. Most of the time you'll get this picture drawn on the exam and they'll ask you to write the equation of the circle, and so this is what you'd have to do. Draw your right triangle, find the distance by counting, and then use the Pythagorean theorem to find the radius, and then whatever the center is, put it in center radius form from there. Alright, we've got another one where we're going to complete the square. So we're going to group stuff again. X squared plus 3x plus, leave a blank, plus y squared minus 4y plus, leave a blank, equals, move the negative 14 over, 14. Okay, for the x's, b is 3. So half of b is 3 over 2. Half of b squared is 9/4. So we add 9/4 here. We're going to have to add 9/4 here. For b, for y, is negative 2. Half of b is negative 1. Half of b squared is 1. So I'm going to add, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, this should be 4. This would be negative 2, and this would be 4. So I'm going to add 4 and add 4. Over here, this is x plus b over 2, which is 3/2, squared, plus y minus 2 squared equals, I use my calculator, find a common denominator. My common denominator is 4. I will get 81 over 4. And I can leave it as that. Okay? All I did was add 18 plus 9/4. My common denominator is 4, so I need to multiply the numerator by 4. So I have 72 fourths plus 9/4, which is 81/4. And then it asks me to identify the center and the radius. Well, the center, in this case, would be negative 3/2, 2. And the radius is just the square root of this. So it's the square root of 81 over 4, which is 9/2. For number 4, write the equation of the given circle. Well, find the center of the circle first. My center is 4, negative 5. The nice thing about this circle is, in that line, it's straight across, so I can actually physically count my radius. My radius is 3. So the equation is x minus 4, the quantity squared, plus y plus 5, the quantity squared, equals 3 squared, which is 9. So that's all you need to do when you're given a graph just like that. And that's pretty much it. Just a matter of memorizing the general form of a circle, which again is x minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, equals r squared. I see questions that have pictures of the graph, except you have to make a right triangle to find the radius of the circle. Other than that, I mean, they pretty much follow this format. You'll be given a picture and asked to write the equation. So once you do the Pythagorean theorem, then it's pretty easy. Okay, we got one more video tomorrow night.